announcing all the details in a few minutes.
Yeah, officers, all 5 officers of we're getting confirmation have surrendered. Is that correct?
Yes.
All 5 officers have surrendered. There are, for some of the charges, some face different charges, or the same charges but different counts, or more counts than others. Can you explain that to us? Why is that?
Well, I really can't confirm that's the case.
Can't confirm that's the case.
Yeah.
Is that just possibly a mistake there?
I think it might be.
Okay, well, let's go over the charges here. I want to ask you about them, and you can respond whatever you respond.
Okay.
2nd-degree murder, aggravated assault, 2 charges of aggravated kidnapping. What is that? That seems unusual. Aggravated kidnapping?
Yeah. And I will go over this if there's a question about it at the press conference, but I don't mind telling you right now that aggravated kidnapping as a general matter is any time that you unlawfully restrain someone's liberty or confine them, and then the aggravated part of it is either you're in possession of a deadly weapon at the time or you cause physical injury at the time. And the idea is even in an officer-involved situation, at some point the detention, which might have started out as a lawful one, becomes an unlawful one, and then that person is being unlawfully confined, and that's kidnapping. And if either bodily injury ensues or weapons are involved, then it becomes aggravated kidnapping.
2 charges of official misconduct, 1 charge of official oppression.
Yes.
What is that?
So official misconduct is whenever an official intentionally exercises authority that is unauthorized by law in the performance of their official duties. And there's another part of that same statute that also says, if you are under a duty imposed by law to do something, and you don't, then through your inaction, you are also engaged in that same offense. And, you know, law enforcement officials that are on duty have an affirmative obligation to prevent unlawful detention and unlawful injuries, as well as it's unlawful to do it actively as well.
Listen, I have covered the team this year. You see Shimon over there, Sarah Seidner here as well. We have been on a number of these scenes, unfortunately. We've covered a number of these stories. At this point, to see officers charged with 2nd-degree murder, aggravated assault, that is highly unusual. Again, as I said, the family wanted 1st-degree murder, but 2nd-degree murder, that's serious stuff. Why? Does that speak to what's in the video? Go on.
It does indeed, Don. I think you're exactly right. No, this is serious business. These are extremely serious charges. You're correct in saying that these are more serious than in your typical officer-involved fatality case. But I think after everyone sees the video, I don't think there'll be any questions about those charges.
Several things that I wanted to make sure, the points that I wanted to make sure, and I wrote them down here. Do you anticipate charges against more people? Because we know there are fire department members as well who are involved in this.
So that's something that I was also going to be handling at the press conference, but I'll say this, that the investigation is ongoing, and the fact that there are certain charges announced today does not preclude that there might be other charges later on.
So let's talk about the video. Is it body cam video? Is it from a stationary position? What is it? Both. How many different sources of video do you have?
Multiple sources of video, and I think it's fair to say that when the public release occurs, and I think that will be soon, people will be able to see the entire incident from beginning to end, including the first encounter and then the second encounter in which the serious injuries occurred.
So how much is there? How long are these videos?
Well, I mean, I think what is going to be released, and this is really a question better directed to the city of Memphis, but my understanding is that when the city of Memphis releases the video, it'll be somewhere in the neighborhood of an hour.
An hour. Mm-hmm. So will it be redacted or edited in any way?
Yeah. There have to be redactions to protect the privacy of any civilians, individuals who were not on-duty city employees that were involved. So you may see a face blurred. If someone mentions a phone number, you may hear a bleep, but the redactions will be limited and only directed towards protecting the privacy of third parties.
I had a source that is close to the investigation says that the video will be released tomorrow and that there are negotiations between your office and with the Memphis Police Department to try to make sure that you have this all in order and you want to coordinate it.
Again, information that I think will be best discussed at the press conference, but I can definitely say that we've been in constant consultation between our office and the city of Memphis, and that the release of the video will occur relatively soon after the conclusion of my press conference to the formal announcement of the charges.
Why is it taking so long?
Well, we wanted to make sure that the video did not compromise the investigation. So if you're going to be interviewing suspects, you do not want them to see the video and then possibly tailor their statements to the video. You want them speaking to law enforcement, without knowledge of what we've got. Similarly, you don't want non-suspect witnesses to start testifying about what they remembered seeing on TV as opposed to what they actually witnessed with their own eyes. That's not unusual. That's not typical of this case. It's just the general rule.
Yeah. Someone, one of the producers is speaking to me. I cannot hear you. Can you repeat that so I can ask the district attorney while he's here? Any other? Oh, yeah. Yes, that isn't related to the video, but I was going to ask you that anyways. Will there be other charges on top of this? Can the charges escalate?
Oh, well, so both with respect to other charges against the persons that have already been charged or charges against other persons, that's always an option. That could always happen later on. I will say this, the investigation is ongoing, and nothing we've done today precludes any further charges.
Nothing precludes any further charges. Why haven't we learned the names of the fire department, these folks, and who they are? Why don't we know anything about them?
That is a good question. I think it might be better directed to the city of Memphis. We're not charging them today, so we're only going to be discussing the people that were charged today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I know you have to get up and do the press conference. We appreciate you coming, and we'll learn more in the coming hours.
Thank you.
We really appreciate you joining us. So again, Victor, there you go. You heard it from the Shelby County District Attorney, Steve Morroy here. And so again, it's very cold out here. Sorry, I'm tearing up a little bit. This is actually freezing out here. But there you go. You're going to see what happens in moments when the official announcement of the charges. But I think he gave us some really good information about why he charged them, what they're charging, what we're going to see on the video, and that video being released, as he said, very, very soon. According to my sources, the video is supposed to be released tomorrow. They're trying to coordinate that with the district attorney's office and with the police department. And also gave us information regarding the two other people who are involved in this from the fire department. Why haven't they been named? Why haven't they been charged? And what their involvement is in this as well, Victor.
Yeah, fascinating interview. A lot of clarity there on those charges. I know that you just had a conversation with Ellie about that aggravated kidnapping charge. We now understand why that is included on this list for these officers, former officers. Now, Don, we'll get right back to you. And of course, we'll bring that news conference with the DA at the top of the hour. Back with us now, CNN Senior Law Enforcement Analyst Charles Ramsey and CNN Senior Legal Analyst Ellie Honig. Ellie, I'm going to come straight to you on what you heard there, what stands out from the DA.
Well, look, the big news is they have brought very serious charges here, second-degree murder charges. And again, just to reiterate, there is a first-degree murder charge available under Tennessee law. The DA has chosen not to bring that. The family apparently wanted that. What differentiates that is first-degree murder under Tennessee law is premeditated. And second-degree murder, which is charged, shows a knowing murder. And again, I think it's really significant that the DA has brought murder charges as opposed to lower charges of voluntary or involuntary manslaughter. The other thing that I think is interesting, and we now have clarity on the kidnapping charges, it means to restrict someone's movement in a way where they could, either there's a weapon involved or they sustain bodily
He
injury.
doesn't have freedom of movement anymore because it's being held.
Exactly. And what makes it aggravated is that there's a weapon and or injury involved. Also, the DA just explained to Don a little more detail about the official misconduct and official oppression, as it's called in Tennessee law charges. These are sort of flip sides of the same coin. Official misconduct means you're a public official, police officer, or anything else, and you violate your duty in a criminal way. And oppression refers to the inaction. And we don't know the facts, but we've seen other cases like this where some of the police officers were charged not necessarily for what they did, but for a failure to render aid. And so there's 5 officers charged here. If it turns out that 1 or 2 of them didn't physically assault this individual, but failed to render aid, that's where that charge of official oppression could come in.
Chief, your top takeaway, the DA there didn't want to step on his own announcement, so there isn't the full narrative of what happened on January 10th, but giving some clarity on the charges and the timeline. What do you take away from Don's interview?
Well, there are multiple videos that are available, both body-worn cameras as well as probably some stationary cameras. So approximately 1 hour worth of video, probably a lot of inaction in that hour period of time. So eventually it'll be edited down just to show exactly what took place in terms of the force and that sort of thing. But they've got a strong case here, a lot of evidence, and I can just tell from the way everyone is talking about this that it is something that really is pretty severe in terms of the actions of the police officers. So we'll be seeing the video for ourselves pretty soon, I would imagine. They were waiting until they get everything in line, the charges, firing of the officers first, the charges, all that sort of thing. And Don had asked me earlier about whether or not it would make a difference because the officers are black and the suspect is black. I think if anything makes a difference in terms of the public's reaction to this is the swiftness in which the officials are dealing with this, both the firing, the charging, and everything that's going on right now. If it does make a difference, it'll be because of that.
This on January 10th from injuries related. Last question to you, Ellie. What's your expectation on bail for these officers?
So this is a big question for the prosecutors today. Will they agree to let these police officers out on bail pending trial, which will be months away, or will they seek to have these police officers locked up pending trial? And I will tell you, this varies by jurisdiction, but typically in a second-degree murder, a knowing murder type case or the equivalent, you would seek to have those people locked up. We'll see. That's a really difficult decision the DA is going to have to make.
All right, Ellie, Chief, thank you both. FBI Director Chris Ray did not mince words today.